Make sure that you have your literary study Bible. Turn to the book of Job and any notes that you took while reading the first 10 chapters. Also, have a copy of the literary analysis chart from the Literary Study Bible Study Guide. We're going to identify the elements that make up this story. Add the title of the book, Job, up into the top corner. First, we're going to talk about the setting and time and place of the book of Job. From what we get in the Bible, we know a few things about the setting. For one, it is in a place called Uz. And we also know that Job is after the flood. And about the same time as Abraham. We know Abraham because Job acts as the patriarch of his family. He makes sacrifices and atonement for whatever possible sins that his children might commit during their parties. And that's the same thing that Abraham did as well. So the land of Uz, about the same time of Abraham. The protagonist in the story, it's the Bible, guys, so the protagonist is always God, and in this case, Job as well. Again, the antagonist of the story, well, guess what, guys? Who is God's enemy? The enemy of God, the self-proclaimed enemy of God, Satan. So, because he hates God, he also hates God's creation, the people that God created in God's image. And, I want you to think about the beginning of this story. Satan is in the presence of God, and God asks him, "Where have you been?" And Satan says, "I've been to and fro, walking around earth." And basically, Satan is kind of, you get from the next thing that God says, that Satan is bragging to God. "I'm walking around looking at your creation, God. Your people, they are just like me. They are just like me. They're not like you." We know that was what he was saying, because God's next words are, "Well, have you considered my servant Job? He is blameless and upright, and he serves me." And that's when Satan says, "Oh yeah? Well, take away all of his blessings, and he'll be just like me. He's only like you because you protect him." Right? So, God allows Job to be tested in this way. In the Bible, I want you guys to remember that every time God tests one of his servants or the people in the Bible, he's always testing them to prove them faithful. Well, Satan is also testing Job, but his testing is to prove Job faithless. Every time Satan tests us, I want you to think about Jesus' trial and with Satan, the beginning of his ministry. Satan was trying to prove that Jesus was really faithless as well. So that is where the conflict is. Job's faithfulness to God is being tested. Point of view, third person. Themes, the problem with suffering. Also, we're going to be studying man's relationship to God. Who is man compared to God? And why does God pay attention to man? And faithfulness. The Epic of Gilgamesh is the next story that we're going to be studying. Some of the themes in the Epic of Gilgamesh are death, friendship, man and the natural world, life, consequences, and existence, wisdom and knowledge, fear, pride, perseverance, and religion. Notice that the stone that is in the background there. The Epic of Gilgamesh was, if you look at your about the book in the study guide for the Epic of Gilgamesh, it tells you a little bit of the background of this story. This is the oldest known story. It was written on cuneiform tablets from the people that lived in Mesopotamia. Some of the earliest people that lived in a land called Sumer. Gilgamesh was listed on among the fifth king of the first dynasty of the kings of Sumer. He lived in a city called Uruk, and there are people. Historians believe that a king named Gilgamesh existed, because his name also is found on other historical documents as well. But of course, he's been. They created a myth around him, made him larger than life. So, anyway, this is the oldest known story that we have. The other things that's important about Gilgamesh is there's elements in this story that resemble stories in the Bible and some of the elements of the stories in the Bible. So here we go. The next thing I'd like to talk about is show you a picture an artist drew of Gilgamesh. I liked this one because he's described in the book of being the strongest, most powerful warrior, handsome guy. And this picture, I like that. It kind of gives me that ancient world kind of picture of him. If you notice, in this picture, he has tattoos on his head and on his arm. It looks like tattoos of the sun god that they worshipped. So as you begin to read the Epic of Gilgamesh this week, begin filling out your character chart in the Epic of Gilgamesh study guide. This is one artist's idea of what Gilgamesh might look like. I want you to think about the characters as you read this week, and bring your own depiction of what one of the characters might look like. So maybe you want to draw from your imagination what Enkidu would look like, or Shamhat, or Ishtar, the god. Well, actually, Ishtar's not in this week, so never mind. Anyway, if you decide to draw a picture, you can do that in lieu of one of your journal entries this week. This is a list of characters that you will be studying, that will be coming up in the Epic of Gilgamesh. So as you complete your character chart, these are some of the characters you might be writing down. So read the about the book section, and you can it's Jack's birthday today when I'm recording this, so happy birthday, Jack. In the original Akkadian language, I will put a link on Edmodo for you to be able to listen to parts of the Epic of Gilgamesh in the original Akkadian. That's it. Be sure to comment in the comment section below the post on Edmodo.